get there, but just this is perfect, so keep on going, just adding a little bit more and get there. Lovely. Excellent. All right, now is there anything else I just wanted to check on? Grand, that's 19 times 4. I'm going to do the blood pressure, that's okay. Thank you. Does that feel fairly tight?
Yeah.
Good. Thank you. That's lovely. Relax the arm again. Thank you. That's great. Right, okay, so this is going to be your first follow-up since I saw you a month ago.
Yeah.
How have things been?
Things have been really good, yeah. I've been following a lot of the advice you gave me to do in my free time, so I'll try and think of the main ones I've been doing. Dark chocolate.
Okay.
I found an 100% dark chocolate.
100%? Is that not too strong for you? Is that alright?
So first I did 90% for about a week, and I realised by the point that it's 90, it was so bitter anyway, I might as well go to 100.
Fine.
I've been having it like with lunch with the blueberries, so that I just don't treat the chocolate as a sweet. I treat it as like a savoury item, and then I find it's a bit easier to eat. So I've been having that, the handful of blueberries I've been having. One of the first things I did for my eye strain was on my work computer. I tried to make it like, I think it was like warmer toned or something.
Okay,
the,
good,
the
yes.
night mode.
To reduce the blue light in the evening. Okay.
Yeah, so I've been using that evening mode in the daytime, and the boss hasn't said anything, so it's all okay.
And has that helped the headaches, do you think?
I think so, a lot, yeah.
Excellent.
I've had a lot of screen-based work the last 2 weeks. I think I would be a lot worse if this was like how it used to be.
Okay, we'll come back to that in a minute. I'll get some numbers, but thank you. Alright, that's good. That sounds fantastic. And I think, I said last time, the other little bit of homework was the 3-minute meditation or something like that.
Yeah.
Did you manage that?
I think that's the one I'm probably the worst at out of the homework. So because I get up and go straight to work, the only time for that is the evening. And in the evening I'm just the definition of wanting to do nothing, so I've tried.
Which is fine.
Yeah, I've tried in like the kitchen at work to just kind of, while I'm doing stretches and stuff, like when I'm waiting for the kettle to boil.
Perfect.
Yeah, just kind of use that time to just be quiet and kind of stretch my neck while I'm at it.
Okay.
So, but it's not 3 minutes, it's probably about 30 seconds.
Look, I think even a little daily is good, just like a little bit of daily mindfulness. And the thing is, it shouldn't become a massive heavy chore. If it just becomes another thing to add to your to-do list that makes your to-do list even heavier, then it's going to stress you out more, and that's totally the opposite of what we want to do. So that's perfect. Just like while the kettle's boiling, if it's something where you're just going to be hanging around anyway, magic, just do a little bit then. So that's great. And then they're sort of doing a little massage around the eyes, temples and scalp or something like that.
Again, like that one I've been doing while I'm at my desk, but mainly like here on my eyebrows, stuff like that.
Great.
But yeah, I think those two are like the bottom of my good homework.
Pretty much full marks. I'd say that's 9 out of 10 at least.
That's good.
Okay, so let's go through the other bits. You mentioned that you've had a lot of screen time in the last couple of weeks, and I think last time I wrote down that you were having these headaches around the eyes maybe twice a week. Has that been happening? How often have you been having them recently? Same frequency?
No, it's definitely less, because I did change the screen like almost immediately. I have had one this week, I think, early this week, Tuesday maybe.
Okay.
But again, I was really on the screen all day that day trying to hit a deadline. So.
Okay. Did you have one the week before? Has it gone down to like once a week now, or is it?
I didn't have one last week, no. So
I'm going to say 1 to 7 to 1 out of 14 then, so up to once a week, but like once a week to once every 2 weeks maybe. So
yeah,
something like that. We'll see.
Yeah.
And if you had to, and how was it? Did it last as long as it did before? I think last time you said they'd last a few hours, often up to the morning, if I remember. And I sort of, how long did they last? This one that you had this week?
I think it was still the same as normal in terms of time.
So it's lasted all morning. It's the same duration, similar duration.
Yeah, although it was in the afternoon this time.
Okay, sorry, not paying attention, thank you. Similar duration all afternoon. Okay, that's interesting that it shifted a bit as well, because I think before you'd said it was most often in the morning, I think. Or maybe I've made that up.
Probably after a day's work.
No, I'm making that up. You did always say it's just around the eyes and just associated with the work. I've just added the morning thing in there, don't know why. And then you said last time, out of 10, if 10 was sort of maximum pain and 0 was none, where would you put the pain of this recent one?
3 or 4.
Oh, that's pretty intense. So that's,
is it?
well, relative. Last time it was 2 out of 10, so it's a bit.
If last time was 2, then it's like a 1.5.
No, you're revising it now, so okay. Would you say it was?
I said 3 or 4 because I thought it was like a little.
Okay. Okay.
It's definitely not as painful as last time.
Okay. That's good. So,
Yeah.
Pain. I'm gonna less than last time? Question mark. Okay. Because I mean, the thing is, it really depends on personality here. Because some people, if they're pessimists, will tend to make the score higher or lower or whatever. Basically, if you're an optimist, you'll tend to want to. So I think, because you're basically an optimist, you know, you'll kind of give me. It could be that you're giving me the real score and then the revised score. So I want to be. I'll note both. Okay. So you say the pain is less, but the score was. It's 3 to 4 out of 10, but I understand what you're saying about you were thinking it was probably higher last time.
Yeah, I think probably last time I was here I'd had a lot more health issues in a short space of time. I had something to compare against. This month I've been so good that it's almost like, there's nothing out of 10, so I'll give it a 3 or a 4.
That makes me happy, that's good. Alright, so I mean, obviously the post-COVID stuff was gradually getting better anyway, so we're on a trajectory. How's that been? Because just the main thing last time, I think, was the shortness of breath and the fatigue, and that you were down to once a week last time.
Yeah, so literally, so up until yesterday, there was nothing. Nothing at all. And so last time I mentioned how I hadn't been drinking caffeine.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why it occurred to me yesterday, but yesterday was my first cup of caffeine. I had 2 cups of green tea after, a month and a half, 2 months.
Okay.
It's like a long time of not really having it at all. Just maybe a tiny bit here and there. Like, I think one time I had a cup of Earl Grey that I had with a friend, but that was the first massive intake. And it was really weird. My similar symptoms came back, and they were like really similar to my long COVID symptoms.
In what way? So what did you experience?
Like almost that feeling of a hot flush, the like faintness, although I had a bit of nausea as well, so that I never had that with long COVID. So, and it's so weird that it was like an hour and a half after the caffeine.
You know that dark chocolate also has some caffeine in it. So you've been having a little bit of caffeine in the dark chocolate, but that the purpose of the dark chocolate is not mainly as a stimulant, it's mainly the brown stuff. The polyphenols help improve circulation. They're really good for the circulation. So I'm wondering, what time of day did you have that green tea, and did you have it on top of the chocolate, or was it in any way? Because if it was, you might have,
Too much.
Yeah.
I had the green tea just before lunch and then had the chocolate at lunch.
Okay, maybe. So it may have been that you might have been able to get away with it with just 1 cup of green tea and then the chocolate. Bear in mind, chocolate, although it's not very high in caffeine, it does contain some caffeine.
Right.
So, and a little bit should be fine. But it's interesting with sometimes with long COVID or with post-viral syndromes anyway, it kind of makes the nervous system a little bit squiffy. That's not a very biologically accurate term, but it essentially means that stimulants which should give you energy sometimes just make you feel more knackered. It can cause a crash.
Right.
People living with ME, or chronic fatigue syndrome complain of this a lot. Like if they drink coffee or tea sometimes, depending on the person, it can make them feel absolutely exhausted. So that will change over time, but it will gradually disappear, but those kind of tendencies can linger for a while. So bear in mind that I think we gave a little prognosis and you're on track, so that makes me happy. I said significant improvement in under 1 month, so yay, that's good, because looking at the trajectory, and then I thought maybe 5 months to just get out of the woods fully, so that just means you'll be feeling pretty good most of the time, but just that little vulnerability to just being a bit more mindful for that time, because things might tip back a little bit if you overdo it in some domain. Like if you have too many stimulants, or if you just get extra stressed, or suddenly go and eat a load of chips for 3 days running or something. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah. But that sounds great so far, Melissa. Really good, really good, really positive. So did you, with yesterday, you just had, you said you felt a bit sick, which was unusual.
Yes, yeah. So I think that's definitely just related to...
That'll be the caffeine for sure.
Caffeine, or just it detoxifying me too, just a bit.
It wouldn't be a detox thing, but if you sometimes caffeine, and interestingly enough, often green tea on an empty stomach can make people feel sick, much more so than black tea.
I had it on an empty stomach.
There we go. Green tea on its own on an empty stomach can make some people feel sick. So it's a known thing. So if you have matcha tea, for example, which is just the powdered green tea, some people will drink it as their sort of breakfast, like to have to start the day with, instead of having coffee or whatever, another caffeinated thing. But some people, it just makes them feel really sick. So so green tea is notorious for that. Sometimes it's a great beverage, don't get me wrong, but it's just, I don't know why, because the caffeine content is often pretty much the same as black tea, but it's obviously got different compounds in. So anyway, but it does. So it may just be the fact that you had 2 cups of green tea and then a bit of chocolate on top, so there was too much caffeine, and the green tea itself might have made you feel a bit sick. So
that's all the bad things that could have happened.
A little perfect storm. But did you get the same sort of shortness of breath afterwards?
A little bit, but I don't know how much of it was me freaking out of like, I've been healthy for a month, why is this happening?
And I laughed when you told me this, because it's just like, it's usually when people are just about to come for their next consultation that some wheel falls off or something. It's just that's totally normal. So, but no, I suspect this may just have been a little sort of stimulant overdose wobble rather than any significant thing. But good. All right. So, any chest pain? Because you mentioned last time that was once or twice a month that had been happening.
Yeah, none at all.
Fantastic. Great. All right. Great. No chest pain. And have you had a menstrual period since I last saw you?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and what was that like? Because you mentioned last time that would often be just a bit of discomfort on the first day.
Yeah, exactly the same as usual.
So no change for that there at all?
No change at all.
So some discomfort on day 1. And was there any pre-menstrual sort of sugar cravings and breast tenderness stuff going on?
No sugar cravings, just same symptoms as
everything
usual.
else was the same. Okay. Yeah, so some breast tenderness but no sugar cravings.
Yeah, no sugar tenderness.
Sugar, yes, no, none of that, definitely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. When was that in the past month? Because I know you bought the herbs about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, and probably started taking them, I'm guessing, about 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
Did you manage, by the way, to do the twice daily?
Not every day, but most days. The morning I'm always really good.
And then it's the evening one that you forget.
That I forget.
Try to put them in a place where you will be reminded. So maybe sometime, it was one bottle, wasn't it? Yeah, I might do 2 next time or something. So you get one, there's 2 tricks you can do. One is decant and put them next to the toothbrush or the kettle or something, so that you're reminded. The second thing is, don't worry too much if you think, oh damn, I've eaten and I've forgotten, because I think it says before meals, doesn't it, on the label? The before meals bit is just so that it's going in on an empty stomach, so the absorption's a bit better.
Right.
Doesn't matter massively as long as it goes in, I would say. So
okay, that's good to know.
Okay.
Yeah, there have been times where I think I've eaten and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
eat again.
It's more about like optimal versus practical.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
Okay.
So, but evening dose, sometimes forgotten, but generally pretty good.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, when was the last period? Was it a week ago, a couple of weeks ago? Was it near the beginning of the herbs or middle? Or?
Finished yesterday.
Okay, so right towards the end.
Yeah.
Okay, so they haven't made a dent in the period, at least as yet. Thank you. Sometimes, what am I writing here? I forget to write things down sometimes, and then that's a problem. So evening, sometimes forgetting, and that was LMP finished yesterday. Thank you. Okay. I think that was all the major bits, wasn't it? But so just in summary, we've got until yesterday, no fatigue or anything, no shortness of breath at all, and we've had none of the chest pain, which is the other worrying symptom. That's all been fine. Headaches much reduced, but when you did get one, it lasted the same amount of time.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. That's okay. That's I think pretty much. That's pretty much where I'd hoped we would be in a month in terms of your post-COVID stuff. So that's good. Has anything else come up this month, Melissa, like health-wise?
Not in a bad way, in a good way. So I was like purposefully not walking as much in my lunch breaks because that would bring on the symptoms. So I used to walk quite a lot, maybe go shopping just to use my lunch break, and I'd stopped that for like 3 or 4 months because it was just taking its toll on me.
Got you.
I was able to do it again as normal.
That's great.
The confidence built up as I was feeling better.
Good.
So yeah, I was able to go book shopping in a lunch break, which was great.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, so yeah, back to basically what I used to be able to walk.
Normal functioning, basically.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I think I still limit myself in that I don't go up and down the stairs.
I think that's wise. Just gradually, softly, whatever it is, softly catch you monkey. How does that phrase make sense? Anyway, the point. Why are you catching monkeys? Anyway, so but yeah, you get the point. I think that's very sensible. Just gradually, and because it's the people make the classic mistake of thinking, oh, I'm better now, so I'm just going to go out and have a party and just no. You'll get there, but just this is perfect. So keep on going, just adding a little bit more and get there. Lovely. Excellent. All right. Now, is there anything else I just wanted to check on? Don't think so. I looked at the comments on the video online. There are lots of people who are very worried for your health, but I have to say, Melissa, actually, you're in pretty good health. You are. When I speak to a lot of people, and there are a lot of people in their 20s who have a much more extensive medical history than this. So, yeah. So
not good for them. I mean,
no, not good for them.
Good
but
for
yeah.
I think what happened is the timing of me doing health consultations coincided with the long COVID, and so it was just me constantly putting these symptoms on my channel, and there's also, as you can tell, there was like a month lag before I uploaded it.
Got it.
So I'm still getting comments of people like, "Are you okay? Are you dying?" And I'm like, "I'm all good now."
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's kind of sweet
this,
actually. It's kind of nice that people care.
It's lovely, and it's brought a really good awareness to my health, as in like general well-being. That I maybe didn't have as much before. I took for granted, I'll say.
Yeah, I think that's true, and I think probably you've helped a few people with long COVID just by showing that.
Yeah,
so,
I hope so. I know everyone's probably got different
takes on it, and
this is what a healthy person had, I guess.
Yes,
so.
Exactly. It made me laugh when I sort of read some of them, and they were like, "Oh, are you?" I was like, "It's just fine." But anyway, I'm just going to do the blood pressure. Yes. That's okay. I mean, not to minimise, because it is like when you get those symptoms, it is really scary. But particularly when you come from a background of feeling okay, by just being like reading some of the comments, it sounds like on death's door or something. It's just like no, it's okay.
It does. I've always been told to check new things like my thyroid or what else was there. Yeah, I think someone thought I had like a chronic fatigue or something.
Okay.
I'm just like, I don't have it anymore. But
well, I mean,
I had.
Just to give them their due, I think some of these things are things that you would want to eliminate. So if this was a new thing, but because by the time you came to see me last month, you were already on the up, so that positive recovery trajectory, sort of like that's okay, this is naturally on its way out anyway. If it had been a brand new thing, I'd have probably advised you to go and get some bloods done just to check the thyroid and to eliminate that, just MOT. So I get it, but it is a bit scary when you're first
it is. It's just the weirdest symptoms as well, like
random things popping up. I can never find my stopwatch on here. Right, let's do pulse and blood pressure. Okay, so when you're ready. Super. That's 19 times 4. It'd be good to be good at maths. I'm not. Okay. Right, could I just get your upper arm, Melissa? Is that right? Yes, money. Thank you. Feel fairly tight.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, thank you. I'll just straighten the arm a second. Thank you. That's lovely. Relax the arm again. Thank you. That's great. Why have I lost your pulse? Oh, there we go, because I'm looking for it on the wrong side of your arm. That doesn't help. Basic anatomy. There we go. Thank you. 108/78, so that's lovely. Low side normal. Thank you.
I always seem to be told it's quite weak, so that's
That was okay. It was just I haven't done that in a while. I was looking for the pulse on the wrong side of the wrist.
I wouldn't even know where to find it.
Well, I've been doing this for 17, 18 years. I should know by now. Oh, well, anyway.
It's always nerve-wracking with the cameras.
So anyway, that's all good. So I think just from today, carry on doing exactly what you're doing. Perfect. It's good progress. Obviously, Christmas might be a bit challenging diet-wise, but that's normal. So just pick up where I think we spoke a bit about this last time. It's about not getting too particular about the food. So there'll be some times when you're like, you're eating with family and you'll have some fried food and some cake and whatever, and that's fine. So if you have a little health wobble afterwards, don't kind of make it a resolution never to do that again. Just kind of factor it in, and so like probably one day of having a bit of a celebration meal will be fine. A couple of days will be fine, and see how it goes. But if you notice that you've been living with family for a week and you've been eating fried stuff every day, and then you start feeling a bit ropey, then but play it by ear, see how it goes. And I think if things carry on in the vein that they're doing now, great.
That's good.
So, shall we book in your 3rd appointment for February?
Yes, I don't really know any. I don't have any plans then. So.
Okay, so we could just make it up. Do you want to do that via email? Would that be easier?
Email might be easier.
Okay.
Because then I've got my little phone with me.
Yes, organise that. So I'll message you on Monday. Perfect.
That's great. Yeah, thank you so much. It's always silly that I forget that diet is kind of also helps me. It's almost a medicine as well.
But yeah, that's the you must have heard the old Hippocratic axiom, let food be your medicine, which everybody pays lip service to, but literally nobody does. So it's often taken to extremes by people, the raw food people say let food be your medicine, but actually Hippocrates, the Greeks, were all about balancing your food, and of course they had ideas about temperament. Like if you were a fiery type, they want to give you cooling foods, and if you're a melancholy, exactly like that. So that was Greek humoral medicine was sort of like the medievals, and they took their medicine from the Greeks. So so they had the 4 humours, which were earth, air, fire, and water. So they were choler. Choler was fire, phlegm was water, melancholy was earth, and sanguine or blood was air. So there's the four humours were based on the 4 elements in sort of Platonic and Aristotelian philosophy, I think. Aristotle came up with it. Yeah, Greek anyway. But yeah, so the point of that ramble was that actually his idea was that you should eat according to your constitution and eat a variety of foods, and the food should be appropriate for your constitution. So in modern terms, that would mean if you're recovering from an inflammatory condition, you don't want to be eating foods that will increase the level of inflammation in your body. You want to be eating more anti-inflammatory stuff. So that's just what we talked about last time. So less fried stuff, charred or burnt stuff. So no charred, no deep fried, not too much added sugar, and just more veg and plant stuff generally would be helpful.
So with the blueberries and the dark chocolate, I guess were they the best ones suited to my constitution?
The blueberries and dark chocolate I like because I don't know whether they're the best, but there is some clinical evidence for both of them. So the blueberries, there's good evidence on the anthocyanins, the purple pigments in the blueberries, actually reducing inflammation in the linings of blood vessels, and they seem to make capillaries less leaky. There's lots of trials on them improving lymphedema, which is drainage from peripheral drainage in people who have ankle swelling and stuff like that. So they're really, that's why. And then the dark chocolate, the polyphenols in the dark chocolate, which are kind of related compounds, and they're procyanidins, and anyway they're kind of related, but the polyphenols in the dark chocolate are similar. They'll reduce inflammation in blood vessels, but they also dilate blood vessels, so they improve circulation throughout the body. So, and there's lots of clinical research on both of those, so that's why, and they're both quite pleasant. and easy to consume.
I do not mind eating loads of blueberries. It's homework.
That's good. And
blueberries.
I'm happy that you've managed to get in some dark chocolate as well, like the hardcore type too.
So it's kind of fun because it's something I've never tried to eat before.
Okay.
Obviously chocolate's something bad.
It's really not. I mean, the thing about chocolate is, yes, it does contain sugar, but what's fascinating is that in all the clinical trials on it, particularly with dark chocolate, the effects of the polyphenols outweighs the effect of the sugar in terms of it. So, for example, it seems to reduce blood sugar. It seems to reduce the risk of developing diabetes or having strokes or heart attacks. So on a population level, it seems to have that effect. So that's interesting. So it outweighs the sugar in it. But yeah, if you can go for the sugar-free, even better. You know, great.
Yeah, 100%. I guess it's just benefits by that point.
Well, I mean, okay, this is. I have so many hobby horses, but this, like with the dark chocolate, I think it's great. So, but even ordinary dark chocolate, whatever form you can take it in, as long as it's not got loads of added sugar, like the higher the dark, the better. So I usually say 85 or higher if you can. That's preferable. But yeah, when you're making eating chocolate, they add extra cocoa butter, which is the fat out of the bean. So they add a little bit extra of the fat because that gives it the snap and the solid sort of properties. But it's, so if you think about cocoa beans, are 50% fat anyway, because they're like nuts. And then they're ground to a liquid once they've been toasted, roasted, whatever, ground to a liquid, and shelled, ground to a liquid, and then you add extra cocoa fat and then a bit of sugar. Now in 100% dark chocolate, they'll just add the extra cocoa fat. So it's like just, it's, you know, the optimal form would be like just the beans.
As natural as possible.
But you actually want to enjoy it and for it to be a part of your, you know, an easily obtainable form. So that it's still really good for you. So
do some people actually just eat the beans? Is that
no, some people do, but you can buy the nibs from supermarket, which is just the beans, and you can put them. People put them in smoothies and whatever. But I think actually, if you put them in smoothies, there's a risk of, like, if you combine them with other things with protein in them, the polyphenols can bind with the proteins, and you can reduce the absorption a little bit. So it's better. I just think have the chocolate. It's fine. It's simpler and more pleasurable. So
easier to think about than all these like little reactions.
Yes, yeah. I mean that if you wanted to get really, like, because I'm obsessed with chocolate. So if you wanted to get the really, you could get the beans and then grind them and then make them into a traditional drink with water, which was how they're made. But then that's like, so you can do that, but
like hot chocolate.
Yeah, but the original, yeah. So it's really rich and it's lovely, but then I'm not trying to get you to substitute coffee or tea I'm not really worried about the caffeine. It's just like the daily intake of regular doses of these polyphenols. Same with the blueberries, where we want the daily intake of those anthocyanins in there, because those over time will really help your circulatory system function better.
It's always good.
Yeah, exactly.
Which the fried foods have zero things like that to help. So
exactly.
More I have the blueberries
it's
instead.
Offsetting. Yeah. Exactly. So.
Yeah, I feel like I learned a lot since my sessions. I got really interested in stuff because, gosh, is it the ages or something? We talked in detail about some sort of fried food encouraging.
Was it AGE?
AGEs.
Yes.
Like that.
Advanced glycation end products.
Just ended up looking on like a little nutrition for dummies kind of book. It's so interesting.
They're helpful, although I have to say those for dummies books aren't really necessarily for dummies. Some of them are quite like, what?
But either way, it's inspired me to
Excellent.
be more interested in health in general.
Good.
And like longevity. So,
that makes me happy. Good.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Excellent. Thank you for coming.
Much.